It was 2:37 a.m. when I first noticed something was wrong. My daughter Emma, barely 5 years old, lay curled up in bed, sweating and trembling. Her tiny fingers gripped my arm like she was holding on for life. Her breath came in short gasps, and I didn't need a doctor to tell me this wasn't just a cold. I rushed her to the ER with trembling hands and a panicked heart, but as I sat there in that white, humming hospital room, staring at the pale face of the only person who mattered to me, I knew the road ahead was going to be brutal. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. By 8 a.m., I was told Emma had pneumonia, severe, aggressive, and fast-spreading. She needed around-the-clock care. I hadn't slept in 36 hours. I hadn't eaten in nearly 20. My phone battery was dying, but I still used the last 3% to do something I hadn't done in months. I called my parents. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe a little compassion. Maybe support. Maybe for once, I wouldn't be treated like the family disappointment. "Hi, Mom," I said weakly, trying to hide the desperation in my voice. "Emma's in the hospital. It's serious. I just need some help watching her or covering a bit of the medication." I didn't even finish before she cut me off with that familiar sharp laugh. "You're still always begging for something, huh? Maybe if you'd picked a better man, you wouldn't be raising that kid alone." I closed my eyes, stunned. "Mom, please!" But my father took the phone next. "You've always been the needy one, Lila. Your sister? She doesn't go looking for handouts." I wanted to scream, to cry, to curse them out, but instead, I just hung up. Tears fell silently as I looked at Emma's sleeping body. I stroked her hair and whispered, "I'll figure this out, baby, even if it kills me." Later that afternoon, I tried my last resort, my sister, Brielle. She had just gotten a sponsorship deal for her fitness channel and recently moved into a condo downtown. She flaunted everything, her hair, her wealth, her filtered happiness, and constantly reminded the world how grateful she was for her perfect life. "Seriously, Lila?" she said when I called. "You're still playing the single mom sympathy card?" "It's not a card. She's sick." "Right," she said, dragging out the word. "You know what's sick. Still not being able to handle your own life at 30. You've always been a loser." That word, loser. She said it so easily, so casually, like I wasn't the same girl who once helped her with math homework, who stood by her during her first messy breakup, who even babysat her dog when she went to Bali. I sat there in the fluorescent hospital lighting with a discharged phone and an overdraft notice pinging into my email. I stared at my reflection in the window, hollow-eyed, broken, invisible. No one was coming. No one ever did. And that's when something shifted. I wasn't going to cry anymore. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to make another call or send another message into a black hole. Instead, I opened a notebook and started writing a list. Not of the money I needed, not of favors I could ask, but of every person who had kicked me while I was down, every cruel word, every fake laugh, every door slammed in my face. I wrote it all down, not as a victim, but as evidence. Because what they didn't know was, the only thing more dangerous than a mother alone is a mother who's finally done being silent. The weeks that followed were the hardest of my life. Emma was placed on an aggressive antibiotic regimen, and the medical bills piled up like bricks on my chest. I worked nights from the hospital room, typing freelance articles, managing clients on 2 hours of sleep, and still managing to read Emma bedtime stories between IV changes. The nurses began to notice. "You don't leave," one said kindly. "You never even go home." Home? I almost laughed. My apartment was cold, tiny, and barely habitable. But even worse, it was filled with echoes of the silence from my family. No visits, no messages, not even a text from Brielle to ask if Emma was still alive. I didn't expect them to care anymore, but I didn't expect what happened next either. I found out through a friend's Instagram post. My parents had taken a luxury cruise to Europe. Right there, in a smiling photo on a yacht deck, was my mom sipping champagne in a sun hat while my daughter lay connected to oxygen tubes. The caption read, "Celebrating peace and quiet. Finally." Peace and quiet. That's what my mother had called escaping me and Emma. And Brielle? She had posted a video titled "Cutting Off Toxic Family, Even If It's Your Own Sister." In it, she said, "Some people just drain you. Even family. Especially when they've made all the wrong choices and expect you to rescue them." The comments were full of praise. "You're so brave! Such boundaries!" She was profiting off my pain, off Emma's illness, off the silence she helped create. That night, something inside me snapped. I took that notebook, the one where I'd written every betrayal, and I started building a plan, not a petty revenge fantasy, number something bigger. See, what none of them knew was that during my freelance work, I had started consulting for a mid-level PR agency, quietly, slowly, and over time, they'd come to trust me. I pitched a bold idea to the CEO, a campaign called Faces of Invisible Mothers. We would feature stories of single moms fighting through abandonment, shame, and poverty to give their kids a chance. I submitted a pilot profile, my own story. He called me within the hour. "This is incredible," he said. "Raw, human. It's not just marketing. It's a movement." We got national interest. I was asked to write op-eds, to speak on morning shows. I never mentioned names, never aired dirty laundry, but every word I said hit a nerve with women across the country. Then something Poetic happened. The same brand that sponsored Brielle's fitness channel contacted me for a Mother's Day campaign. They had read my work and loved it. I agreed, under one condition. We'd film it live, in my hometown. And so, with Emma by my side, now fully recovered, I arrived at the venue, a community center downtown. We stepped onto a makeshift stage in front of mothers and daughters, camera crews, and reporters. My parents were in town, fresh from their trip. I knew they'd see the flyers. I knew Brielle would notice the press. And I knew they'd come. They did. Late, standing at the back, confused. Until I stepped up to the mic and said, "My daughter once asked me why Grandma and Grandpa never came to the hospital. I told her, some people only love you when it's convenient. Today, we love out loud, even when it's hard, even when no one claps." The room went silent. I held Emma's hand as we walked off stage. Brielle approached later, lips trembling. "That post wasn't... I didn't mean it like that." I looked her in the eyes and simply said, "Don't worry. You're just being dramatic, right? That's what you always said about me." My mom tried to hug me. I stepped back. "I'm not angry anymore," I said, "just unavailable." It had been 3 months since that campaign aired, 3 months since my family's silence was broadcast without ever saying their names. And yet, everyone in town seemed to know who they were. Brielle's brand sponsorships began to vanish. Quietly at first, one fitness company paused their partnership. Another canceled an upcoming collaboration. Apparently, the irony of preaching family values while publicly mocking your sister's sick child didn't sit well with audiences. My parents, once the darlings of the church committee and country club circuit, found themselves politely excluded. Invitations stopped. Whispers grew. People started to remember what they had tried to forget, all the birthday parties they skipped, all the holidays they spent doting on Brielle while I sat alone. And still, I didn't gloat. I didn't make a single post. No dramatic takedown. No vengeful tweet. I simply lived better. I started an initiative called Emma's Room, a community fund to help struggling single mothers with emergency childcare and medical support. The first woman we helped had been sleeping on a bus stop bench with a toddler. We gave her shelter, meals, and a doctor's appointment the next day. A news crew came to cover the story. And this time, it wasn't about the pain I'd endured. It was about the hope I had built. Emma painted a small mural inside the center. Bright yellow sun, a stick figure mom and child, hearts surrounding them. It said, "Love speaks loudest when no one else will." One morning, while hanging a new donation plaque, the receptionist called out, "There's someone asking for you." I turned and froze. It was my father. He looked smaller, paler. The suit was still expensive, but his posture was humbled. "Can we talk?" he asked. I nodded slowly and led him to the back room. He sat. Then, without looking up, he placed something on the table. A photo. Me, as a child, holding a teddy bear. On the back, "To my brave girl. You always saw more than we did." Then, a check. $25,000. "It's all we could move quickly," he said quietly. "We want to help now. We know we failed." I stared at the check for a long moment, then slid it back. "Help someone else," I said. "Help a mother who doesn't have what I have." His eyes welled up. "And what do you have?" I smiled. "Peace." He left, and I didn't cry. Later that day, I saw Brielle waiting outside. She looked nothing like the online version of herself. No lashes, no lighting. Just a girl in jeans, holding a coffee, looking scared. "Do you hate me?" she asked. "No," I replied. "But I'm done trying to earn a love that was always conditional." She whispered, "You were never the loser." I nodded. "I know." As I walked back into the center, Emma came running. "Mom, the new family is here!" I knelt down to greet a tired mother carrying a baby. She looked at me the way I used to look at everyone, hoping but too afraid to expect kindness. I took her hand. "You're safe here," I said. "We see you. We'll help." And that's the thing about pain. When you survive it, you get to rewrite its ending, not with revenge, but with purpose. I didn't just make them regret abandoning me. I built a world where no one like me would ever be abandoned again. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this